Hey everybody, this is Harlan Kilstein, and I'd like you to know it is absolutely raining money on Facebook. Right now, it's raining money, and I'm going to show you how you can get wet too. So let's dive in. On Planet Facebook, right now, there are over 400 million active users. We're not even talking about people who signed up for accounts and don't use them. We're talking of these 400 million people around the world, 50% of them log in every single day. And this next statistic is something that's unprecedented, that people spend over 7 hours a month on Facebook. Now, I don't know how much time you spend on Facebook, but I know some people who seem to spend over 7 hours a day on Facebook. Well, there is nothing in the world like the traffic that is built in at Facebook, and we're going to show you how to take that traffic and turn it into cash. But we have to understand Facebook in order to do that. So here's a short overview. Facebook is about people connecting with loved ones. I don't know about you, but I have gotten in touch with a lot of my old high school buddies that I haven't spoken to in years, years and years and years, and I found them on Facebook. And we wish each other happy birthday. We find out about each other's families. We see how they look and how they've changed and how their personalities are still the same or different. Um, Facebook is also used in disasters. There are many, many stories about people who are in earthquake zones, uh, people who, volcanoes, tornadoes, hurricanes, and the first thing that they do is go onto Facebook to let their families know that they're okay. Facebook gives people a platform. If you have a cause, uh, you can create a Facebook group and you can probably get people to join you in your group. It's very easy to do. A lot of people raise money through Facebook for charities. As a matter of fact, the night that I recorded this, I was on Facebook and I saw that one of my friends who is a yoga teacher was raising money for a charity. I saw it on Facebook. I clicked on the charity. I donated and came right back to Facebook. There is a group on Facebook that's called Causes. They raised over $400,000 in a month on Facebook. So the thing about Facebook that you need to have in your mind first is that it's about people connecting. Now, some of the people who are on this are marketers, and marketers are using Facebook to market to other people. Who can I send message to? Who can I sell something to of my own services? But the majority of the people who are on Facebook are connecting to friends and don't want to let someone in that they don't know. For example, my son was on Facebook before I was. And my son is absolutely amazed at the number of friends I have. Why? He will not let anyone become his friend unless he knows them. And there are a lot of people like that. So it's important that you keep in mind that when you're talking about Facebook, you're talking about personal connections. That's a key. Now, Facebook stats. We talked that there are 400 million active users. Half of them log in every day. We did not yet talk about that. It's very different than search marketing. Okay, by search marketing, we're talking about Google. And on Google, people are searching for a topic of interest. Okay, so if you want to find out about, let's say, John Lennon or the Beatles, you do a search on John Lennon and you'll come up with a lot of different sites. One of them will be the Wikipedia article, and there'll be many, many more. You could find John Lennon's biography. You can find John Lennon's lyrics. You'll be able to buy his albums. You'll probably see some videos on YouTube of John Lennon. But on Facebook, if you look up John Lennon, you'll find that there are groups all about John Lennon. There are groups about the Beatles as well. You can like these groups and immediately participate in discussions with other people who like John Lennon or the Beatles. And you'll be kept up to date with what's going on online. Now, when we talk about people spending 7 hours on Facebook, you understand that it's not just interacting with their friends, but there are a lot of other things that they're doing. I heard a statistic recently that so many people are so hooked on Facebook, so hooked on social media, that a lot of women actually get up and will log on to Facebook either on their computer or their smartphone before even going to the bathroom in the morning because they want to find out what their friends are doing. The demographics of Facebook are definitely changing. The fastest growing demographic today is age 35 plus. Now, Facebook started with college kids, and they were the ones who spread it. And now Facebook has gone down to teens. In theory, you need to be over 13 to have a Facebook account. And so you see a lot of teenagers on there, but only 11% are teens. 54% of the people are female. And we're going to be learning a lot more on how we're going to target the people who we are going to get to buy our stuff to make money on Facebook. Thank heavens, Facebook makes it absolutely simple. You will just jump for joy when you find out how simple Facebook is going to make it for you to succeed. Now, something you should know about Facebook is that Facebook encourages affiliates. They even have a whole department for affiliates to help you make money. And we're going to be talking with this about this later on, and I'll even tell you how to get in touch with that department. So if you have any questions, they'll know you're an affiliate, and they will actively reach out and help you. Now, that's not the way it is with Google. Google doesn't like affiliates very much, and they're actually trying to get them out of the market. Now, when you find your customers, this is Facebook's definition, and that your customers go through a number of different stages. One is the stage of awareness, where they have an awareness of your product or service. The next level is they have an opinion. The next level after that is that they're giving your product or service some consideration. The next level after that is that they have a decided preference for your product. And after that, maybe they make a purchase. So let's work that through. My wife is telling me that she'd like a clothes dryer. So first, there's an awareness that it's time for a new clothes dryer. Then there are some opinions of which dryers that we should get. It's in our area, there are no gas dryers, so it's an electric dryer, but they have all these different kinds of electric dryers. So let's say she settles on the type, and so she's giving it some consideration, and she's evaluating them. Then eventually, she's going to have a preference for one dryer, and finally, she'll be ready to purchase a clothing dryer. So you see, to a greater or lesser extent, that's the buying process, and Facebook wants you to be aware of all these different levels. In Facebook, you can reach people early. When someone goes on Google to search, depending on what they type into Google, they're either thinking about it or they're ready to buy. In Facebook, you're reaching people early in the buying process. There are 20 million people who are connecting to pages. That means instead of going directly to a product, they're bringing people directly to a page within Facebook. We'll talk more about that. On Facebook, you'll see that a lot of people have connections to celebrity names. Those pages with celebrity names get massive amounts of traffic. So let's just say, for example, can you imagine how much traffic um, Elvis gets? Okay, so let's say you had a special kit that you were selling that was going to help you create Elvis sideburns. Well, obviously, on Facebook, you would be interested in people who liked Elvis Presley. A lot of people, a lot of stores use Facebook because they want to reconnect with old customers. And if you want to see an example of a very active page where um, someone from a company is pretty actively running the site, I'm going to suggest that you check out the Kohl's page, KOHLS, and you'll see that there's someone there trying to soothe all kinds of problems. And if someone has an issue, they give them a special email address, facebook@kohls.com, and they resolve the problem for them. So it's reach people because they know that tens of thousands of people are watching. Um, Facebook actually rules the world. There is no site that gets more regular visits in a day than Facebook. There is no site that inspires such loyalty. No other affiliate program lets you target as accurately as Facebook does. They they make it so easy for you. Remember? Easy, simple, fast, quick. Facebook is going to make it all happen for you. Many, many years ago, when I was fishing, I would fish in a reservoir in New Jersey where I lived. And I would go fishing early in the morning because everybody says that's when the fish are biting. And I would go, and there would be a man standing near the entrance. And every time you walk by him, he had a bucket full of fish. So when I would go on the way in, I would say, "Hey, what's hitting?" And he would say, "Oh, the bluegills are hitting." And I would look at his bucket, and it would be filled with bluegills. I would come by a little bit later, and I say, "What are you catching now?" And he would say, "Smallmouth." And I'd look in the bucket, and then they'd be filled with smallmouth bass. Now, this guy was always catching fish. And the funny thing was, I would be near him, and he would be catching fish, and I would be catching nothing. Sometimes I got my worm or my lure stuck on a rock, but that was about it. And finally, after seeing him there for a couple of weeks and chatting with him, he taught me how to fish. And he showed me, and this is the important thing, that for each fish, there's a particular bait. If you want to catch a bluegill, you need to use a certain bait, you need to hold the rod a certain way, and you need to reel it in a certain way. But if you want to catch a smallmouth bass, you've got to use a different bait, you've got to hold the rod differently, and you've got to reel it in differently. Now, I'm going to translate all that for you so it becomes simple, because we're going to be moving now into learning how you can make money on Facebook in the 48-hour Facebook Money Secret.